Good morning, you guys, and welcome back to the Sam Leah Show.
We're on a mission to become our best selves, and we're taking you along for the ride. How was your weekend? You were purging like crazy because it's
It
the
is
time
a
is getting
it's
down
a
to you
ride. I must
getting
say
moving and
it is definitely a ride. Yeah, we purged, which was a really good feeling of like just getting rid of all said things.
yeah, I saw you were
Oh,
posting some pictures on Facebook. So did you have people come by the house? Like
oh
in
yeah, yeah. There was tons of just people that stopped by to grab stuff all this past week and weekend. And really the only thing we have left is like big ticket items now. Now we have like
like furniture?
dressers and chairs and couches. Like all the little stuff is either going to the thrift store or going to the dumpster this week. So
Mhm.
so we're
Did you
done there.
do dumpsters? Did you like rent one or something? A dumpster?
No, we found out we have a city dump, a city dumpster. It's full right now, so we're waiting. But worst case scenario, we rent one and throw stuff
Yeah.
away in it because we will have furniture and things that maybe won't sell. But I was just thinking like we leave the 18th to
Mhm.
go, but our house doesn't close till the 28th. So there's a 10-day window where I need to have somebody come clean this house because I won't be here on the last day of the movers. I will have already left and the movers will still be here packing. So I don't know how exactly the movers will leave my house. Um, so yeah, I definitely need to have somebody come in. I'm thinking about paying my son to do it. So yeah, just little things like that. And I
Yeah.
think I'm more anxious about finding like all the new people. Switching over I'm nervous about switching all of my stuff over, like all of my subscriptions over,
Mhm.
and then having to find all the new people.
Mhm.
The new hairdresser,
Mhm.
where am I getting coffee? All those kind of things, like,
Mhm.
that is exhausting to me. Of, like, who do you trust? A doctor, something as simple as, like, who's gonna be my Botox guy? Actually, I did get a connection. I have an idea of who my Botox guy is gonna be, but, like, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know, it's kind of exciting. It's just fresh, like new people, new opportunities.
Oh,
You
it's
might meet
exciting. Yeah,
people who
yeah,
are even better, like a hairdresser that's even like better than the one that
yeah.
or
Are you
you're like
saying
loving your haircuts and stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All of it, like, new dentists, new
Yeah.
doctors, all the new
Yeah.
stuff.
This is the first time in my life that I've had the same people for a long period of time because I just moved so
Right.
much. I never had a consistent person for anything.
Yeah.
But now I've been here for like 12-ish years. And so I have had the same like doctors and people and for a while. And it's kind of nice to have that. Um,
I'm hoping Pinterest has, like, a list of everything to where I can just kinda, like, go through a list. I don't wanna have to think of all this stuff on my own that I need to go look
ChatGPT,
for.
homie.
That's true.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, because I want, like, what are all the subscriptions I need to probably think of, and what are all of the utility bills and all that kinda stuff. I gotta
Yeah, just go through 1 month of your statements and just you can make like a list
Oh, yeah, that's true. Good
of
call.
the auto
See,
pulls.
that's where my brain is just not at. This is why I wouldn't want a personal assistant for shit like this right here. I don't wanna do this. I don't wanna do this part. This is the part I don't, and plus, getting all new utilities, canceling all
Yeah,
of these utilities, and,
yeah.
because some of the utility companies still are from the 1950s, Jared has to be the one that calls because heaven forbid, because I lived here as well, that I'm allowed to call. I hate
Interesting.
that rule, which I understand the rule because even in divorce, like, if I wanted to divorce my husband and then turn the power off, I could just call and turn the power off, but yeah, some of our bills are just in his name, and they refuse to let me do
Right,
anything, even though Jared has not wrote a bill in the 6 years we've lived here.
right, right.
So
Um, yeah, I would just make a list. You're a list girly. So just make a list of the places that you have to call so that it's not in your brain and you're not trying to stress to try to remember everything. But
right.
I would go, you got to do your change of address, which is super easy. You can do that online for the post office for like $1.
Yeah,
And then I would just go through your monthly statements and just anything that's on, every month that you get charged, just write a list. And then it's super
right.
easy to just log in and switch your,
Yeah, I'm gonna not stress about it until we get back from our trip,
yeah.
which you guys we leave tomorrow to meet each
Yes.
other. We leave
Yes.
tomorrow.
I know.
Tomorrow night, we will have met
Yes.
face to face.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be a fun trip. It's a quick trip. I mean, it's only aside from the travel, it's really only 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be fast, but it's gonna be good. And I think we're gonna you guys are going to see some shifts in the business, some shifts in some services and things like that. So
Mhm.
we're just trying to streamline everything to make everything easier for everybody to get the support that they need, kind of in the right, like we want to be able to guide you every step of the way and have something to offer so that wherever you're at, we have support or guidance or tools or workshops or something. So and
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think it's going to be really good.
I think it's good for me to step away right now before we move and get this
Yeah.
done. Like, I was starting to think, "Why didn't I just wait till I got down there and do this? Like, this the timing, blah, blah, blah." And then I'm like, "No, like, this is actually going to help me get down there, get my office set up, get focused, and, like,
Yes, because
let's
then you'll
go."
know, you'll have more clarity and we'll
Yeah.
be able to
Yeah.
focus on what we want to
I
do.
think that's the part I woke up this morning with tremendous anxiety, what I thought was anxiety, but it turns out it was excitement.
Which, fun fact, your body doesn't know the
Know the
difference.
difference. Yeah. But
Yeah,
and that's what I kept asking myself. I'm like, "Are you really anxious? Like, you're a grown ass person. You're not anxious. You're overly excited, but it feels the
yes.
same."
Yes. I learned that when I started singing because I used to get performance anxiety really bad. And so I learned that you can actually just trick your body instead of
Yes.
saying, I'm nervous, I'm nervous, I'm nervous, or I'm anxious. I could just say, it's just positive anticipation. I'm just
Yeah.
excited. I just have
Yeah.
all this excited energy. And you can kind of like trick yourself and trick your body into it. So yeah,
Yeah,
you're
that's what I had to do this morning because I was getting like super like wound up, like my heart was racing and I was and my stomach was all like as soon as I woke up, I remembered like today's the last day and then I got to pack and then we're gone. And I got like all like worked up and I'm like, is this anxiety? And I'm like, no, this is actually excitement because this is what I want to do. I
yeah,
want to go up and make our business better and see her and help. And I don't know, I'm just there's just so much going on. I'm trying to just
yes,
stay present every day.
best thing you can do.
Stay present and like, what's today's activity? Today's activity is the show. We have a great guest speaker. We have a lawyer coming in to talk to us
Mhm.
inside the next chapter today. So right after this, that's what we'll do. And then I have a couple clients, and then I can literally go sit over at the pool the rest of the day. It's going to be a beautiful day here. Jared has the boys, so I'm just going to enjoy today.
Yeah,
It's my last big work day before our trip,
yeah,
so I'm
it's
going to
gonna be
enjoy
good.
today. How are your brows
Yeah,
turning out?
so I'm day 6, I think. So for all you 80s babies like me who squeezed the shit out of your eyebrows in the 90s, my eyebrows are so thin, and so I have to fill them in like all the time. And I have gotten microblading in the past, but I also have oily skin, and
Okay.
so it's not the best procedure for oily skin because your skin doesn't like take the ink as well, so it fades and whatever. So recently I discovered a procedure called nano brow, which is a technology that's more like a tattoo. So instead of a
Mhm.
blade, they actually use a needle and they deposit the ink into your skin in like hair like strokes. So
So
I got that
I
last
just hear tattoo. That's all I
Tuesday.
hear is tattoo.
Yeah, I mean, it is a tattoo on your face, essentially, but
I love
it's
it
so
though.
fucking worth it. It's the best money I've ever spent. I can't tell you. First of all, trying to get my brows even every day, it's like impossible, right? And it just saves me so much time. It's just less product that I have to buy. It's great. So I got it last Tuesday and they say it takes about 7 to 10 days to heal, but I can already tell you it's 100% better than microblading. Just the procedure itself, so much less invasive. And the healing is just way easier. When you
Yeah.
get microblades, you look fucking crazy for like a couple weeks and it's like all chunky and it like
Chunky.
scabs off and falls off. And it's quite a process. I got that done twice, but the nano brows, chef's kiss. I love it. And it's supposed
Wow.
to last like 4 years. So I'll just maybe go
Damn.
get like a touch up or something whenever needed. So yeah, check it out. I don't know if you have one locally near where you live, but nano brows, pretty good.
Huh. Huh. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to check it out whenever I move. I don't think the person I emailed here, I haven't heard back, so not good things.
Well, you're moving anyway, so you'll
Yeah.
probably find
Yeah.
something.
But, yeah, I definitely I have one eyebrow that's really full, but has a huge scar in it, so I gotta fill that in every day, and then this eyebrow is still left over from the plucking days, so
Mm.
it doesn't quite have the strength, so it has to be, like, colored in like a crayon every fucking day, so
You can always take a trip to Buffalo and come see
that
me and go
is
to my
true.
lady because my
That is
lady's
true.
really good. She's been doing it for like 8 years and she actually trains people how
That
to do it.
might
She has a
be
certification program. So like she's an artist, which I never thought about that.
yeah.
But like
Mhm. Yeah.
Microblading, a lot of people, they just kind of add that on as an extra service to like whatever they already do. They're not
Yes.
necessarily
Good call.
artists, but she also does like tattoos, like fine line work. She does the, like, if you have one of my girlfriends, this is how I found her. My girlfriend had breast cancer, and this woman like tattooed her areola back on. Like, she's like an artist.
Yeah.
I would definitely make sure that whoever you're going to, because it's like they have to be
Yes.
skilled at, they're
Yes.
like painting or create,
Yeah.
tattoo. Yeah, it's art.
Okay. So you mentioned boobs, and that was like the best transition statement I've ever heard of. So I've lost a bunch of weight, and my boobs without a bra, I don't know where they're at, but they're
They're
not where
like
they're supposed to be. They're
sagging.
they're covering my ribs. Like they're real low, and in a bra they look pretty decent, but I don't want to wear a bra.
Right.
I'm contemplating either fake ones or a lift, and I can't decide. But
Mm,
something's got to change because I was listening to a podcast, duh, like I always do, and it's just like if you're not happy about something, either accept it or do something about it. And so I'm
right.
I'm on that fence of like, I'm 45, but yet I'm 45 and like I've just lost a bunch of weight. And if I don't want to have to wear a bra, I don't want to. I hate wearing bras. I hate the confinement. I hate the having to. I hate the stigma that we can't have our nipples out. Like I
Mhm,
I just I hate it, and I want to go braless all the fucking time.
mhm.
And so one of my good friends that I follow on Instagram, I don't think has worn a bra her whole life. And so she has smaller boobs though. So I get really jealous. So mine are, I don't know. What do you feel about the fake boob, lift boob? I've had girlfriends that have gotten lifts and they look way better, but they had bigger
I don't
boobs.
know what a lift is.
Like they pretty much just take the sagness and put your boobs back up where they belong, but it's your boobs. It's not,
right.
I don't know
I would
where they
probably
cut or anything
sooner
like
opt
that.
for that because I just don't like the idea of putting a foreign
Fake.
object in
Yes,
my
that's me
body. Like,
too.
I feel like it would want to reject it. Like, it can't be good. I don't know.
That's my thought process too, but it's like I do have a lot of extra skin, so I mean I could get a pretty good bag in there to fill it all up, but I'm with you. I'm like, should I
Yeah, maybe
just
they can just
try the
kind of give
lift?
her a little lift. Or also, I mean, do you do any, and I don't know if this would help or not, but do you do any like like chest exercises, to like
Oh,
build the muscle
yeah,
back
I mean
up?
I do pecs and chest and all that, but it's just that mine are just like ski slopes now. Like they're flat, 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 and then like there's just a chunk at the bottom and that's
Mhm.
it. So it's really annoying.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to put a bra on. It's the bra thing. I don't want to wear a bra, but if I don't wear a bra, then it's like, why are your boobs down there? Like, why did oh. I'm not confident, because
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, look at these saggy things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard this thing about mammograms too.
So, so I did some research. Okay, so and I would love to hear what you ladies have to think too. So we're supposed to get a mammogram once a year, right? I think they say to start when you're 40.
I'm just gonna say my doctor does not say that.
I know, and you go to a holistic person, right?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
here's the thing that confuses me. And I'm no scientist and I'm no doctor, but here's my thought process. Um, a mammogram is 8 times the amount of radiation than a regular x-ray. Okay, I looked this up yesterday. And what they're doing is they're squishing your boob, but in those plates. So you're traumatizing the breast tissue. You're causing inflammation while that's happening. That's why it hurts. And then while you're traumatizing your breast, you're shooting 8 times the amount of radiation into your boob than a regular x-ray. And that's why they say, like, are you pregnant? Because they don't like to do that. And I'm just thinking that can't be good. And to do that every single year. So dental x-rays have like half the amount of radiation than a regular x-ray. And even for those, they put a fucking lead vest on me and asked me if I'm pregnant, like for the dental. So I'm like, it's just not adding up for me. I'm just a little
Yeah.
confused as to how, and I completely understand. Like, listen, I've had family and friends who have had breast cancer and they did find it on, just a regular thing, but that can't be good. Shooting radiation into your boob
Yeah.
every year. Like, so I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah.
I want to do that, because you can also just get an ultrasound,
Mhm.
right? If you want to
Mhm.
go get something kind of checked and see. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
But
What do you guys
but
think?
the thing then, and I'm not gonna get political here, but the thing then is insurance. Insurance makes you get the mammogram before they'll do any other intrusive So it's like
Mhm.
everybody's pockets have to be dipped into first before we can save your life.
Right.
And so when you go to somebody and say, "Hey, I have a lump," or, I have something, they'll be like, "Oh, let's do a mammogram." No, I already know there's a lump. You don't need to look for that. Do the ultrasound. They're like, "Well, we can't do that till we do that." And it's like, no. My doctor has always said, and again, you guys, she's not your doctor, but she's mine. She has just said, you don't do anything until there's a need. Until you
Right.
find something, then, as long as you're doing your checks and she does the check for me, I do the check, Jared does the check, and you're always checking and you don't have any other signs and symptoms. Why are you traumatizing your body? She feels the same way about pap smears. I mean, she's just like,
That's
unless you have
another
an
thing I've been
issue,
thinking about. Yeah.
she's like, but I mean, again, my doctor is a very holistic doctor.
Right, right.
She does not prescribe prescriptions unless it is like the end all be all. You
Right.
are
Which
without
I
a
really
cause.
love that because
Yeah.
I know that, I mean, it's just not what's going on is not right. I mean, just that
Yeah.
everybody's making money off of sick people because the pharmaceutical companies have just got their hands in
Yeah.
everything. And so I know it is hard to, I think, try even people like, I think doctors are just trained, and when they go to med school, they're not trained to look for like
Yeah.
holistic
Right.
um
She said
things to
she
to
said,
help people. It's like which drug pairs with what ailment.
she said she was in, the pharmacy portion of her residency and matching drugs with ailments and stuff, and she said, "But this drug doesn't get rid of the problem, this just gets
Right.
rid of the
It just
side
treats
effects."
it right. It's
And
like
she got in all kinds of trouble for asking all these questions, like, "Why are we not going to the root cause? Why are we not going," and they pretty much said,
right.
"Look, you get to be one of 2 types of doctors. You can be the doctor that follows suit of what we are teaching, or you can go rogue over here, but you're gonna be a solo and you're gonna be on your own." And she went rogue,
Mhm.
obviously. I mean, the first time we went to her for one of the kids with a fever, I'm calling, and this is a wait list, guys, to get into a doctor like this. Like, you have to be referred, you have to go past like it, these holistic doctors don't just take anybody Joe Blow off the street. Like, you have
Mhm.
to apply, you have to prove that your belief system is a certain way, blah, blah, blah. And so, first time we called her for a fever, we are like, okay, he's got a high fever, what kind of meds? And because that's white coat,
Right.
what
Right.
med should we give this child has a fever? And she's like, well, what is it? We're telling her, and she's like, write it out. She's like, write it out. She's like, I'm telling you, if you can just let the fever, it's your body's way of healing itself, is it's heating up to kill the infection. And so, the ailment, whatever it is. And we wrote it out. And I'm telling you, of all the 2 first kids, I drugged them. I gave them everything. I did all
Mhm.
the white coat, pharmacy, Midol, Motrin, whatever,
Mhm.
Tylenol. And these 2 kids, we haven't. And these 2 kids are rarely sick and get over it like this. Fevers, like less than 12 hours, less than 24 hours, where the other kids, they'd have fevers for 4 or 5 days because we keep drugging them and the drug would wear off. We give them. And so it's all a belief system and what you believe. But when she first told us that, she goes, look, to be a patient of mine, I don't mind if you give the drugs, but don't call me and ask for help. And doctors like this, they work a little bit different than a regular doctor's office. Like, we're allowed to FaceTime her, we're allowed to text her. She comes to our house, she'll jump on a call with you. You get an hour-long appointment anytime you book an appointment. Your family all goes together and she sees all of you and she wants to know about your household and what you're doing and what are your cleaning products. Like, she wants to know all of it.
Mhm.
And you just pay a monthly subscription, and you don't do insurance. And it's just,
Mhm.
it's so moving, finding someone like her. But she's like, Sam, I can just do remote. And I'm like, oh my God,
Right.
thank God, thank God. So it's just that mindset. But that first time, we're not giving our kids medicine for that fever, and it's high, and we think it's high, and we're like, do we do the cold bath? She goes, no, that counteracts what the body is doing naturally on its own. And I'm like, and the first time we did it, we were like, are we making the right decision? Like, what happened? Dude, it was
Mhm.
over like that. And I'm like, why? But she teaches about the body.
Right.
Here's what she explains it, and like,
Right.
here's
Because
what's
it's
going
signaling.
on.
It's signaling, okay, there's a
Yes.
problem. So instead of just saying, okay, what drugs can I take to fix this symptom? It's like, well, what's the problem?
What's the process?
Let's
Because
change that.
a fever is actually late in the game healing. And there's
Right.
actually been stuff going on before that. And so when you understand and again, she's all about the root cause.
Yeah.
What is the
Yeah,
root
I like that.
cause of what's going on? She was the
Because
first
we do that
person.
emotionally. Like when
Yeah,
when we have emotional problems or
right.
whatever, if we're triggered by something, it's like, okay, well, where's that coming from? Right? You're
Yeah,
gonna keep getting triggered over and over and over if you're
right.
not going to the root cause. So
Yeah.
it's like it makes sense to me, and I'm definitely more in alignment with that. So I don't know. Like I actually have an appointment for my annual mammogram, I think later this month, and I might not go.
I
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
again, and I think that's what's the greatest thing about where we live is you get to pick. I
Yeah.
get to pick that I do a holistic route. My neighbor gets to pick that they don't. Everybody gets to pick what they want. And again, it's not what I did with my first two children, but it's what we're doing
Right.
with these two children. Thank God I found a man that believes in what we started believing in these things together. Like we just like make it make sense. Like, why are we doing this? And why would we do that? And so I think just asking questions. And she was the first doctor I've ever been to that took the time to explain the logic and the reasoning behind. So when we call her, it's usually like, do this first, this first, this first. And it usually involves a food, an
Right.
organic substance, an oil, a treatment, a physical treatment of like push on this, tug on this kind of thing before she will ever. And she always says, if you want me to call in a script, I can. And I always ask her this question: if it was one of your five kids, what would you do? And she'd be like, well, I'd do this. And I'm like, okay, if you're
Yeah.
going to do that for your kid, then that's what I'm going to do for my kid.
Right.
And less intrusive. Right. So yeah, I think it's just a belief system and asking more questions. And I think that's just what's great about where we live is just you got to ask more questions.
Yeah.
Why do I need to smash my boob down to this big? And why haven't they come out with anything? You're telling me,
With technology nowadays, I know they do 3D mammograms as well, but I don't know if that's any,
right?
I
I
think
just I
that's
find
still
it hard to believe that you have to smash my boob down to a fucking pancake, but you can do an ultrasound and see my baby and what it looks like on my belly, but you can't see what the inside of my boob looks like.
yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
come on. I mean, to me, there's an insurance realm there that's playing a
Something.
bigger factor than the actual health and helping.
Something.
Yeah.
And so I do have cancer in my family. Like there are relatives of mine, and so they say that I'm more of a high risk, and so they wanted me to do that genetic testing to see if I like carry the gene. But then I'm
Mhm.
like, even if I do, what the fuck am I supposed to do about it? Like,
Right.
what
I
am
don't
I
I
gonna
don't know that
do?
I don't know that I would wanna
Why do
know.
I
To
need to
me,
know? Even if you know what I'm saying? Like, what would change?
yeah, I think it's more diet. I mean, we are what we eat. What are you ingesting is gonna either breed those cancer
Right. And
cells
I
or
mean, I'm
not.
kind of mindful of that stuff already. I mean, I don't
Right.
treat my body like shit. So that's
Right.
just another thing. It's like another thing that I'd be paying for. Why?
Right.
You
Right.
know? I don't
And
know.
can you imagine being divorced and having to have all these conversations? And I see it all the time. Like, I believe this and you believe this. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
we're
was
stuck
gonna
in joint
say
parenting.
it's nice that you and Jared are on the same page with stuff like that because that's the
Yeah.
kind of shit that can cause a lot of problems. Like because if you when you get together, let's say you got together 10 years ago and you were kind of like, yeah, I go to the doctor when I get sick and they give me antibiotics and I get these vaccines and this is just how it is and how it's always been. And then the more you learn or the more just information you have, maybe you're changing the way that you do things or the way you approach things. And so when you have a partner that's just not on that same page, that can cause a lot of problems, especially if you have kids,
I
because
couldn't
then you're going to
imagine.
be at odds. There's going to be so much conflict on like, well, I don't want to give the vaccine. Well, we're going to give the vaccine, right? Like
Yeah.
that's tough. And I think that could really cause a lot of issues in a relationship. But
Yeah.
yeah, then that's like a red flag, right?
Right. Well, I mean, even like we got divorced so long ago, and I kind of took over the health part of the kids, and then I kind of changed my belief system when I had these other two kids. And luckily, my ex husband kind of let me lead, and then he was asking questions like, "Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" And it changed how he started to view things. And I
Mm,
never thought that would happen a day on this earth, but then he kind of was like, "Yeah, that does make sense." And so he never questioned. But I had a case the other day where a lady was like had a very overly masculine, ego eccentric male that was like women should be in the kitchen type of treatment.
mhm.
And she's like, I just want to be in charge of my little girl's health journey. Like I want to be in charge of what is happening to them, and things. And it just made me like think, when are we in charge of our kids? We're making all of these decisions so early in their life about what goes into their body, between the HPV shot and the vaccines and food and
Right.
everything. We are in charge. And then so when you get divorced and it's like, who gets to pick that, joint or separate? Man, that's just when you have two different belief systems. Woo!
Yeah.
So important to make sure you ask those hard questions on dates with people. Like, hey, what do you feel about this? What do you feel about that? Because why even go down the rabbit hole? I mean, thank God Jared and I are on the same page, but we came together on that page. Like when we started dating and then we had kids, we're like, I said, this is kind of what I'm thinking. He's like, I don't know anything about that. Like, let's do some research. And he was like, hell yeah, that makes more sense too.
Mhm.
So I think it's just posing questions before you jump in to that is really critical. But yeah, ask your doctor, hey, why are you smashing my boob down to a pancake? And I heard this thing about radiation, and why aren't you protecting the rest of my body while I'm standing here? Like, why then, is the radiation just going to go through my whole body, or is it just my boob? Like, and ask the dentist question. Why at the dentist office do they put this plate over the top of me and them to protect them? And it's
Yeah,
not
they leave
near
the
as much.
room.
Yeah.
It's
But then
like
the mammogram, there's a lady, does she leave the room? I don't know. I've
or
never
she
had
goes
one.
behind like this protective thing. She like
But
stands behind a thing, right? And I'm
but the
there
rest
like,
of your body, your
yeah,
ovaries and everything is catching all this radiation too.
right. And that's why I think they ask you if you're pregnant, because it's dangerous to do. It's like, well, if it's dangerous to do when I'm pregnant, isn't it dangerous to do when I'm not? I mean,
That is a
it just doesn't
really,
add up for me. I just don't understand it.
but what made you question it? And that's the part that I think more people need to do is like,
TikTok.
I think we all
That's where I
follow,
learned everything.
right, but we're all following this line
Yes.
until something like really like pops up and you're like, wait a
Yeah. And you're like,
second.
I
Hmm.
never really thought about it that way. Or I
But we
never
just do
really,
it. Right. We just
yeah.
do it though. Yeah.
Yes.
We
Just
just do
like
it.
autopilot. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
which is a lot of things that we do. A lot of things where we are programmed to do. Like 90% of the things that we do and think, it's our subconscious. Like
Yeah.
we're not paying attention to it. It's just like something that we think, or if something just always has been a certain way, we don't really even realize, oh, there's like 50 other ways that you could do this thing that I've
Yeah.
always just done it this certain way.
Right. Right. Which, we were talking about red flags and not coming to a compromise. You made a spectacular video the other day. And
I stitched this compilation
mhm.
of all of these red flags in relationships, and they were showing videos of like the cake smash at the wedding. And when clearly the bride, that is
She was
not what she
she's
wanted.
like, "Don't fuck up my
She
makeup.
was
I paid
so
$200 for
pissed.
this." Mhm.
Exactly. She was so pissed. And it's just like, that is a huge fucking like my husband would have never, because if he knows that it would make me upset, he never
Right.
would do it. Like the
Right.
fact that he would do something like that to her when clearly that's not what she wants, just for what, laughs, just for,
Yeah.
because his friends thinks it's fun. I mean, what, for whatever reason, huge red flag to me. If you're on board and you're like, yeah, this is fun, like this is what we want to do, then whatever. But she was pissed. And yeah,
Yes.
you pay all that money to get your hair and makeup done. You have this beautiful, expensive dress, and you just fucking smashing cake. So then what? For the whole rest of the night, you're all fucking jacked up looking for pictures, and like no one wants that,
Dude,
right? So that's a
nobody's
red
getting
flag.
laid on that honeymoon. Nobody's getting laid on that honeymoon.
Yeah. The other one was this woman had put together this puzzle and had done something that where the puzzle pieces kind of like stayed stuck together. So she was like holding up the picture of the puzzle and like showing her husband, like, look, it worked. Like my puzzle stuck together. And he fucking punched a hole in the middle of it and all the puzzle pieces fell apart. Like, red fucking flag. It's like these
Dude.
people who are doing things that have absolutely no they don't care about the repercussion. They don't care about how it would make that person feel. They don't care about their feelings.
Yeah.
Well, they don't care about that person. If you don't care
Yeah.
about, if you're hurting somebody intentionally, right?
Mhm.
It's not an accident. You're intentionally smashing cake in the face. You're intentionally destroying your puzzle. If you're intentionally doing something that would hurt somebody, then how can you say that I care about this person?
Yeah.
Right?
The
It's just
the
big red flags to me.
the gender reveal ones, how guys react to gender reveals,
Yeah, that
I
was
think is
crazy
like
too. That
a
guy, I
huge
don't know
red
what they were
flag.
doing. I don't know why he had a knife in his hand. This is another a part of that video if you didn't see it on TikTok or whatever. They found out it was going to be, I think, a girl. And he was like stabbing the table with his knife like a psycho. Yeah, red flag. I mean, that's not a good sign.
I'll be like, "Hey, bedtime routine, probably gonna be all you, mom. I don't
I
think this one's
mean,
gonna be helpful." I don't think he's too happy about it.
but
Yeah,
here's the thing too. It's like, so let's just go back to like the wedding one, right? The cake smash. There's no fucking way that that girl did not have signs
yeah,
that he was that type of person before that wedding day. There's
yeah,
0% chance, right?
yeah,
So it really comes back to, and this is like when we talking to our clients, like when you're coming out of divorce, we're not saying that you need to take fault, but what was your role? What
Yeah.
role, what red flags did you ignore? What boundaries were you not setting? What was happening in that relationship even before you got married that you can now look back, hindsight's 2020, and you can go, yeah, that was probably a sign. Yes, that I probably shouldn't have tolerated. Yes, I should have spoken up and advocated for myself and set a boundary when he said this or when he did this. Um, and then things kind of add up or things
Well,
get worse.
I even think the cake thing, it was probably talked about anyways. Like
Of
it
course.
was talked about, and you guarantee most women are saying, please don't. Like put
And
a little
she
icing
clearly,
on
like,
my
if you watch the
nose.
video, she's like giving him that, like
Yeah.
she's clearly trying to avoid the cake in the face, and they're like wrestling.
But the thing is like, when you have those we call them pre-gaming conversations here at this house. You know, if we have a big event, we pre-game the whole big event, and we're talking about any problems that could possibly come up and how I'm viewing it to be. Jared tells me how he views it to be, and we make sure we're on the same page about it. And I'll give you an example. Let's say we're going on vacation, and I'm like, hey, we're leaving for vacation next week. Here's what I see happening. Before we leave, I want the house picked up. I want somebody getting the mail. I want somebody mowing the yard. And I want to make sure the dog's taken care of.
Yeah.
Which
You're
job?
setting your expectations.
We're
You're clearly
preloading. Okay,
communicating.
when we get there, my anticipation is you and I will leave for vacation or for groceries. Like I'm always preloading, pre-gaming every big scenario in our lives so that I say out loud what I anticipate it going so that he doesn't have to live guessing what my head is. And he hears it. And then this is where you know if you have a good person or not. He hears it, interprets it, remembers it, and applies it and
Mhm.
gives me his spin, so like when we go to his parents, I'll say stuff like, hey, remember I have a sensitive stomach, so I'm like, hey, if so and so asks me about food, jump in, please intervene so I don't have to be rude and say no, like do that conversation for me. I'm so that I don't sit there and get attacked about food and then him
Mhm.
not say anything and then I'm mad at him. It's like, well, he didn't know that I get upset about that. Like he needs to jump in. I need to tell him ahead of time. And so I'm telling you, it's been a complete game changer in our relationship because he sees something happening, like, man, she knew that was going to happen. And he jumps in. We have parties. I'm like, hey, the one thing I need you to do, work the room, but always check on the garbage and make sure the garbage gets cleaned out. And in case it gets too full, take the garbage out halfway through the party. So he's like, I don't walk over the garbage can and get all pissed off. But if I do walk over and it's full, all I can do is wink at him and like, I'm like, hey, and he goes and grabs it and it's done. Like he knew, oh yeah, she told me about that. That's one thing that was going to bother her. I think when you have somebody that listens and
Mhm.
applies it, because Jared knows if he listens and inputs with me, tells me what he thinks, tells me, and we work together,
Yeah.
there's no
It'll be
conflicts.
smoother because then it's a team. It's a
Yeah,
team. It's
yes.
like when you're married or even in a relationship. I mean, you guys are a team. Your goal is to help make things easier, accomplish things easier with each
Together.
other, with each other's support, and you can delegate and you can say you handle this, I'll handle this, um and so when you're in a relationship and you guys aren't on the same team, where can you go from there?
Yeah. I think the
Truly.
whole having to like think about what people aren't like thinking. For him, he's just like, just tell me. So I'm an overshare, which makes it easy. So like as soon as we get done with dinner, we're both like, okay, how do we see the rest of the night going? And we just say like, okay, I'm gonna go take my shower. When I get out, I'll give the boys a shower. You clean up the kitchen. When you're done cleaning up the kitchen, I'll wipe the countertops off. I'll sweep the floor, but at least get all the dishes. He does the dishes part. I do all the picking up. And then we're gonna meet in the living room and watch 2 or 3 episodes, then we'll go to bed. Like we plan it all out. So there's no like, I'm not in there getting the boys ready, slamming drawers, like, oh, it must be nice to just sit in the kitchen. Like that's how I was when I was married. I
Mhm.
wanted mind reading. I wanted like he doesn't see me doing all this stuff, like he never asked. Well, Jared's always asking too. Like I have a
Mhm.
partner that always says, "Hey, what do you want to do tonight?" Or "Hey, what do you need help with?" Or "Hey, what could I
Mhm.
do to make tonight go better?" He's always asking because he
Mhm.
cares that we're on the same page so that
Yeah.
we go to bed on the same page because then
Yeah.
that benefits him. And so it's this teamwork thing and that cake smashing, I can tell you right now, if I told Jared to not smash cake in my face, he would be like,
That's
"Do you
it.
want it? Do you want it on a fork or do you want
Yeah.
to do it yourself?"
I mean, just you only
there
have to
would
say
be
it once.
there
That's
would be
it.
no because he
No.
knows the wrath that would come if he did something like that and embarrassed me, got ruined my dress, ruined my $200 worth of makeup. Like there's no way Jared would ever do that.
Right.
Not there
Same.
isn't a second guess in my mind that he just wouldn't. And
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about men like that that think that's funny. to me, it's like, let me show my dominance on day one.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
I see.
I mean, and I would be curious. I mean, I would love to ask some people who did that. Why? What was your intention behind that? What was your
There
motivation
is
to
no
do that?
intention
If
for
it's
most
kind of
men like
just
that.
because they
I think
think it's
it's
funny,
Yeah, I think it's a
right?
knee jerk. Let me
Attention or
center of attention. Well, that's the other thing. For Jared, he's never a center of attention person. Jared's a backseat all the time. Like he
Mhm.
does not like the limelight. So I mean, he wants
Yeah,
that cake part to be over fast so that everybody will stop looking at him.
yeah. That's how
So that
David is
part.
too. It's funny that they're so they do have a lot in common, which is probably why it works because we're both like fucking
Look at
go
me.
getter. Give me the camera. Like, yeah, that's why you never see our spouses in any of our TikTok videos.
Right. Right. Jared might walk around in the background, but
Yeah,
that's
but
about it.
they're
I'm
like,
always like, "Do you wanna get on TikTok and do a live with me?" He's like, "What would I say?" He's like, "I
right,
don't really
right.
say much anyways. I'm in the background doing something." But
Yeah, so
yeah,
that does work. It's a good balance, but
but
yeah,
I
it's
think you
true. It's
have
like
to
you only have to say it once, and that's it. He'll
no.
hear you. He'll be fine because he respects you. He
Yeah.
respects you. He doesn't want to hurt your feelings. He doesn't want to get you upset. Like that's how it should be.
But I can tell that because we've pre-gamed so much before big events like that, that now I'm doing it with the kids. Like this morning I was telling the boys, look, like, here's the agenda today. Here's where you're going. Here's what you're gonna do when you get home. Mom's gonna be in the pool. You can come over and swim with me. Like I'm already like, here's your anticipation for the day. And
Hmm.
for me, that consistency and that routine or giving a schedule really like calms kids because then when they get home, they know they're going to see me because they wanted to stay home with me today. And I'm like, no, I have to work, but I'm gonna be in the pool when you get home and we can go swimming the second you get home. So giving them just that, here's where you fit in today. Here's what's going to
Hmm.
happen for you today. And hopefully that carries on into their adult life and they'll be good humans and be good spouses for whoever they get with later in life. Because watching that video, I was getting so angry
I
of
know.
just like, I think I was getting angry because I knew how many problems those women were going to have in the future in their relationships.
Right.
It's like, if
Or what
this
they
is
must be
how,
dealing with like now. Yeah.
yeah. Or that like the baby reveal things, if your spouse doesn't run to you and hug you instantly at finding out boy or girl, and they look for the crowd's reaction or they look to someone else in the crowd or they're cheering for themselves and they don't like ah,
Hmm.
that makes me cringe when people are like celebrating all on their own and they don't even go over to their spouse until
Yeah.
like somebody's like, "Hey, your wife's walking away." And they're like, "Oh yeah, come here, honey." And it's like, too
Or like
late.
the one at the restaurant. That was the other one where the mom is trying to feed three kids. She's got three kids like in her lap and she's trying to
Mhm.
feed everybody. And then they pan over and the dad's just sitting there, just like watching something on his phone, just like eating by himself. Like, no, no.
Yeah, and I do think your kids naturally go to one parent. My kids will say mom 5,000 times in a day and maybe say dad 1,000. And so Jared tries to intervene, like when they're like, "Mom, mom," Jared will be like, "Dudes, I'm right here doing nothing. Ask me," but
Yeah,
like they come to me, but he intervenes a lot and tries to be like, "Hey, come over here," which again, sign of a good spouse,
yeah.
not somebody that's just going to sit back and let it happen and be like, she's got it.
Mhm,
You know, I pick better, people. We got to pick better and just pay attention to the red flags. We
mhm.
all had the red flags. It's just that we can change him. We can make
Yes,
him better. We'll get rid of those mommy issues.
yes.
Right. Right. So we got a next chapter coming up. We got to go get off here so we can go over there. We have a New York attorney coming on today and talking to our private group, our paid membership group of the next chapter. And I don't know what she's going to talk about today. I have a couple questions lined up for her, but I think it's going to be a lot of financial mistakes that people are
Yeah,
making,
yeah.
attorney perspective. You know,
How to save
she's been
some
doing it a
money.
long time. I think she's been an attorney for 25 years. So it's going to be good. It's going
Yeah,
to be really good. So if that's something you want to jump over to inside the next chapter, but when you guys see us on Thursday, we will be, oh, these guys won't see us on Thursday, but the next chapter people will see us on Thursday. We will actually be in Canada when
yeah,
we go live. So another reason to jump into the next chapter would be to go see us hanging out together in the same room.
yeah.
we will be in the same room on Thursday. So, and then next Monday, we'll see you guys for the show. But let us know in the comment section, what is your viewpoint on your doctor? Do you like your doctor? What's your viewpoint on your mammogram? What's your viewpoint on fake boobs or just getting a lift? And then did you have some red flags during that cake ceremony where you were like, let us know. Are you divorced? And did your ex-husband shove cake in your face? I'm just curious if that's like a telltale sign that
Mhm.
happened. So,
Mhm.
Jill, maybe we'll see you. Who knows? We're headed to Vancouver. And for those of you that asked about my glasses, I get my glasses from Zelo, Zeelool. They're like $12, super cheap, super affordable. I have like a whole basket down there of like 30 pairs and real good lenses. I've only scratched one pair because they rubbed against a concrete when I drug them. That was the only pair I've ruined out of all of them. Was there any other good questions that I saw? I don't think that was about it. I wish I was there helping you fill it out too. Yeah, just start asking more questions when you go to the doctor. Ask them if you can get to a root cause and see what they say instead of just putting a band-aid on it. You never know what answer you might get. You might get dropped from your doctor. I don't know. So be careful of that as well. All right, you guys, we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.